Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another sort of special type video where we take a look at the entirety of the Walking Dead comic book series, and I give you my thoughts on what I think are the best parts. And spoiler warning, of course, for the Walking Dead comic book series, if you guys haven't read it through all the way. And I will say, because I know a lot of you guys are viewers of the TV series, maybe still never checked out the comic book series, I would highly recommend it. This video can serve as sort of a summary type video for you, as best as I can do in one video, but there are pretty much 26 volumes of the Walking Dead at this point. Comic book series, each trade, of course, is a lot. It's definitely a lot to go through, and it's an amazing story, and it's a different version from the TV series. There's quite a few differences between them. I've done videos where I've gone through and mentioned, most of the major changes, but there are a lot of changes, different characters, and characters do different things, and so, in some cases characters are totally different characters with the same name. Good example, that would be Carol. So yeah, definitely check out that video if you guys want. I did that as the Christmas special for this year. This one may be a little bit lengthy. What are the best parts of the Walking Dead comic book series? So deconstructed the backdrop, and I've got everything ready for this one. Gone through all of the volumes again, and man, it's crazy. Like every single volume that I look at and I try to think of, okay, how am I going to sum this up for the best parts of the series? There are character deaths all throughout the series. Almost every trade, every volume has some kind of huge character death for The Walking Dead. I mean, right from the get-go, right from the start, we have the first part, of course, is with Shane and Rick, and very similar to the TV series, Days Gone By. The start of it being very, very close to the television series, with a few differences with regards to the Guts trick and how that works out. Of course, no Daryl and Merle. You have Rick meeting Glenn, everything like that. You have him finding Lori, finding Carl, finding Shane, and kind of sort of figuring out what's going on. But then quickly, Shane gets mad at him and goes to try to take him out of the picture. You have the camp getting attacked by a bunch of zombies there as well too. And in the end of this one, really great part to get it started off right. You have Carl, who after looking at the comic book series again all the way through, you really get to see that Carl is like the man. I want to say, like, okay, Rick, obviously Rick, but Carl is he's huge in the comic book series. He's used way more than in the television series with regards to major kills and stuff. I mean, you've got him, he kills Shane alive. He doesn't kill the zombie version of Shane, which is way different. So, and all throughout the series, there's all kinds of stuff with Carl in the comic books where he really stands out. In the TV series, not nearly as much. So Days Gone By, it's good. It's definitely a good start to the series. And definitely like the ending of it. It definitely gets your attention after you read it, with a huge major character death that you probably wouldn't think we would see, with Shane being killed off at the end. So this was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's one of the absolute best parts, but it's a strong start. Then we have Miles behind us. So in this one we meet Tyrese for the first time, who is an even bigger character in the comics in terms of coverage, I want to say, than the TV series. Has some really great stuff going on in it, and has a relationship with Michonne. We meet Herschel in this one too. So this one has quite a bit in it that's important for the series, with Herschel the farm and meeting Tyrese and that. It's pretty good. You've got the barn stuff, if you guys remember, and you've got some character deaths for Herschel's family. Herschel's family in the comics is huge. He's got all these kids and stuff. It's hard to even keep track. The one I remember best, of course, in the comic book series, Maggie, but then also Billy is another one too in the comic book series that is a really important character. Miles behind us, pretty decent. Cool to see the winner in that. And in this one, do we get to see Wiltshire, or is that the next one? I'm trying to check it just to see. No, that's the farm. And then, so introduction Tyrese, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good follow up after the first trade, the first volume. Number 3, safety behind bars. So this is the one where they actually do find the prison for the first time. So yeah, safety behind bars. The first time they see the prison. So you can see on the cover, you get to see the prison and that. It's pretty good. The start of the prison, you've got the inmates there who end up being a lot of trouble for them. Very similar to season 3 of the television series, pretty much right off the start once they get there. And this is a pretty cool part right here. We're going to hang him. As Rick says, as his hand's all messed up with Thomas, which is pretty cool. You have Thomas. You have a bunch of prisoners there. You have a few. And Thomas is the one that, he's really nerdy looking, and he doesn't seem like he would be really a threat. And some of the others, seem to be worse. But then as we find out here, as he comes in, he goes to Danger and says, so I can cut your head off. And he's got, a big knife and everything, and they get into it. And then she kind of runs away from him, and Rick is able to tackle him and beat the snot out of him, and then they hang him. And that's another thing, too, about the Walking Dead comic books, is that it is even darker than the TV series, especially with torture and things like that. At certain parts here and there, it's pretty brutal. So this one's good. This one has he drives by Wiltshire Estates so that he can go and put down, I think, is it Zombie Shane in this one? I'm pretty sure. It all kind of blends together for me over time. It's hard for me to kind of, differentiate between different parts of it. But yeah, he does. He digs him up, he comes up, and then Rick puts him down. And so that's a pretty standout part. You've also got the Tyrese stuff where he kills like a whole bunch of zombies and that with the hammer and that. So it's pretty good. Right. And in this one too, also you have Tyrese's daughter gets into a suicide pact with her boyfriend, which is pretty disturbing. And what ends up happening is that he does it, but she won't. And then Tyrese murders him. He chokes him to death, and Rick doesn't really stop him. Like I said, some pretty dark stuff in it, darker than the TV series. And this one was great because we got to see the prison, just getting started with the prison, and I thought that was really, really cool for the comic books. Then we have Volume 4, The Heart's Desire. So this one has some really good stuff with Tyrese, and also the line at the end. This one is one of the best splash pages in all of it. We Are the Walking Dead. You can see that one on Google. That one is that's a infamous splash page from The Walking Dead. This one, okay. So we have that. We've got the fight between Tyrese and Rick, and it's pretty big, and it's over what happens with Carol in the comic book series version, and she's totally different from the television series version. So Tyrese is with her. They have a relationship, and then Michonne kind of comes into the picture and sort of just takes Tyrese from her, and so you have her. Let's see. You've got a fight that breaks out between them. Okay, so let's see here. Some crazy stuff. And so she tries to commit suicide, I think, and then that's what happens. So this one is like focused on also Alan gets bitten. So this one is like focused prison again, focused on kind of Tyrese and what's going on with him and his relationship with Carol, or what's not going on with that, and the fight. So that one is really good, and the fight was really exciting. I remember the first one, I read it through first time. And I was kind of blown away by it because they just beat the shit out of each other. It's pretty good. Then we have Volume 5, The Best Defense. So the Best Defense, let's see what we got in this one. Right, so they're at the prison still, of course, and they're kind of, Rick and Tyrese have worked things out. And then we have, all right, let's see here. Okay, so the helicopter. So the helicopter comes in. And they see it, and this is where we get led into the Woodbury part of the story. As they go out to find the helicopter, and they see a whole bunch of footprints, so they follow it back, and they end up in Woodbury. But little do they know that, and this part is actually pretty crazy too, because as a reader, when I first read this through, I read this before the television series version, bought it and everything before that. And with this one, it's kind of nuts because you wouldn't think right off the bat right away that Woodbury would be a group of villains. Like, you wouldn't think that the governor would be this bad guy, because we haven't really seen anything like him. We saw the prisoners, and we saw that. We met Herschel, we met Tyrese, and everybody for the most part, except for the prisoners, seemed to be pretty good people, pretty good characters. And then we meet the governor, and we find out very quickly that he is not really a nice guy. He's got people fighting for entertainment and stuff with zombies chained up, And, well, stranger, we're feeding them strangers. And that's it right there. And somebody called me an idiot or said I was stupid for thinking that this looks like Danny Trejo. How does that not look like Danny Trejo? like to me, it looks to me... Okay, so he's supposed to be Caucasian, right? But, I mean, look at him, right? The governor, I don't know. I just always thought that the governor's look in the comic books was a little goofy to me. So we've got that. We've got the fight going on, and this part, this is one of the most shocking parts of any series I've ever read. This is when the governor chops off Rick's hand to let him know who he's messing with and to keep him in line. And oh man, this, like I said, it's darker than the TV series version. That's crazy. When I first read that one years ago. Oh man, like what was that? Like 9-10 years ago? Oh man, I mean, I was just like, wow, because I've been reading comics for a long time, but I never really read anything with that kind of shock value. It's like the equivalent of if you're reading a DC comic and, I don't know, Zaz or somebody gets Batman and cuts his hand off or something. It's just so crazy, man, that he would go that route. And it definitely, for shock value, it definitely gets the reader. So this one has a lot of shock value in it. It has the hand being cut off, and it also has Michonne being tortured or being, tied up and pretty much tortured, raped, and the whole bit by the governor. So... yeah, oh man, this is going to be fun and stuff. And Rick wakes up and he has no hand. And me as a reader, this was my expression as a reader. Just clueless to see this and stuff. Thinking, is this some kind of a dream or something? This is going to happen? Crazy. So this one actually is really, really crazy, man, and definitely blew me away as a reader. Like Michonne's face is just like brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. So this one is definitely a standout. And also because, too, it doesn't happen in the TV series with the hand being cut off. There you've got the tanks where he's watching them, and you get to see how messed up the governor is. But then they're allowed to leave with Martinez, and it seems like they're escaping, which is really good. And then we find out afterwards that Martinez, in fact, he wasn't doing that on his own accord. The governor actually allowed him to do that. And then the idea was that he would report back. He would head back after, once he found out where their base was, once he found out where their camp was and everything. So that's number 5. So this one is one of the best parts of the first little bit, I want to say. This Sorrowful Life. Also, just following up after that with the Woodbury stuff. Really, really incredible, man. This is another good part of the series as well, too. They get back and they see that the prison, the gates have been breached, and it's all zombies inside. It's everywhere. And just to get to see them. Also, just to get to see them escape Woodbury because it's so bad. But you have Michonne, who she tortures the governor. So she goes back rather than just leaving, and she ties him up in the same way. And this is one of the darkest parts of the series for sure. She uses a drill to drill into him, and she uses a spoon and takes out one of his eyes. She cuts off one of his arms, but not at the wrist. She cuts it off. Right here, so at the elbow. Oh my God, it's just, it's very, very gruesome, very brutal. So, and a lot darker than the TV series is. And this part too, as well, stood out to me as a really great part. You have Martinez, so he finds out where the prison is, and then he runs, and Rick's like, "Hey, where'd this guy go?" And so he gets in the RV and he goes back, and Rick runs him over. So that was switched for Bob in the TV series, the cop version of the cop Bob. And then Rick executes him pretty much. So again, the stuff with the Woodbury, the back and forth fighting in that, here's Rick standing over him. The back and forth fighting in that is intense, and it's even darker than it was in the TV series version. And the governor, to me, in the comic book series, he seems more purely evil than he does in the TV series. He's just like pure evil, with no real explanation for it. He just kind of is. The calm before. So I look at this as like the first kind of section of The Walking Dead up to volume 8, which is Made to Suffer. And then after this, it changes quite a bit because this is all prison stuff with Woodbury. And then beforehand, it's kind of like you have the Shane stuff, you have the survival horror getting set up, meet Tyrese, the farm for a little bit, and then the prison. Then once you get into the prison, pretty soon you get into the stuff with the with the governor. In this one, let's see. Oh man. So you got a flashback of Laurie with Shane and the whole pregnant talk and everything. And in the comic book series, to me, it's pretty clear that Judith is Shane's baby. In the TV series version, it seems more like it's Rick's, but I've never heard official confirmation one way or another that it is. I just, based on the way it's kind of told in the comics, there's flashbacks right before the pregnancy and everything, so it seems that way. In the TV series, the time makes more sense that Rick could get back, and then Laurie got pregnant after, so it probably wasn't from Shane in the TV series. It seems like it's different to me anyway, but that's a topic of discussion for, you can argue that, and that's been argued online for years with no absolute closure one way or another who the father is. So we have Carol. This is really, again, really dark stuff at the prison. I remember the prison in the comics as just being really, really dark. Carol, after Tyrese leaves her, and you have, she's just, for Michonne, and him and Michonne are getting along great and everything. Carol is just kind of losing her mind. So first she goes and she kind of has sex with Billy, who's like 19 years old, and she's older, and it's pretty messed up right here. And then she proceeds to commit suicide. She opts out and she lets a zombie eat her and says, do you like me? Oh, good. And then the zombie's like, is chowing down on her. So she commits suicide pretty much. And, oh man, it's pretty brutal. So that to me definitely sticks out as one part. I wouldn't say it's the best part, but it's there. But the ending page is one of the best parts. Kill them all, and then he's on the tanky. They kind of ride in out of nowhere with the governor who's got everybody like that. It's kind of like, set up for the Too Far Gone version in the TV series. So that's the calm before. That's number 7. Now this is the best part of, I want to say, the first section. This is Made to Suffer. And I struggle to say what the absolute best part of The Walking Dead is. Based on trade, this still may be it, even though I love to read Negan way more than the governor. But this one shocked me more than any other trade I've ever read, any other volume of a comic book series I've ever read, Made to Suffer. Absolutely nuts. I mean, and this version is even crazier than the TV series version. You have so many deaths in this one. It is nuts. You get the death of Herschel. You get the death of his son, Billy, and it's brutal when it happens because, the governor attacking everything, Andrea shooting at him, kill them all, the whole bit. You see what happens to the governor afterwards. And, oh man, so Andrea gets clipped with a shot. You have, as they're attacking, Herschel and Billy are running, and Herschel's got his hand, and he gets shot down. So Herschel's son gets shot down right behind him, and he's still trying to run, but he's like dragging him. And also Tyrese gets captured and trying to go after the governor when they had them on the run, and the governor proceeds to cut his head off, just absolutely brutally. Similar to the TV series version, they used Herschel for that, but it's even more graphic in the comics, I think, because you can see like the spinal column and stuff when the head goes rolling off and everything. Absolutely crazy, man. I mean, it's really brutal. And this is one of the most exciting. Michonne almost gets the governor, but misses him barely and gets him just in the ear. And in the end, you have the death of those two, as I mentioned. Here's the part where Herschel is dragging Billy, and he's shot, and Herschel realizes it. And then the governor, and then Herschel pretty much gives up, and the governor kills him. And then, this is the most shocking part of any series I've ever read, is when Laurie gets shot by the attacking, by Lily, actually. Lily Call shoots her with the governor and kills the baby accidentally. She didn't mean to kill the baby, but she does. And then she gets mad at the governor because the governor has forced her to kill a baby, and then she, in turn, kills the governor, and so the governor is killed in this one as well, too. And there you see it there. Lily shoots him from behind, who's still listed as alive in the comic book series Walking Dead universe. We don't know. But they did focus on that more in the novels for the Woodbury. They did like a novel thing with Woodbury where they went back, and you can buy that still. You can read that still, where it focuses on Lily because she in turn ends up being very important, killing the governor and killing Lori and the baby in the same trade. So this one is the craziest ever for sure. Even versus issue 100, even versus Something to Fear, which is back up there, which is another one of the best parts of the series. This one, for the first part, I would say is the best and is the one to beat for the first section of the story. But it doesn't end there. So we have Volume 9, Here We Remain. It is slower part after seeing the craziest, or after reading the most nuts, insane, trade pretty much ever, especially with setup and everything. This one's pretty good. We get to meet Abraham, Rosita, Eugene, and we also have the group getting reunited again. You have Carl taking care of Rick when Rick's been shot. Also, I forgot to mention, too, in that one, Rick was also shot, too, as part of the whole governor, battle and everything. So it's pretty intense. It was pretty crazy, for sure. Michonne and everybody, they get reunited. You've got the phone thing going on, if you guys remember that. It's pretty good. Here We Remain. It's definitely not bad, and we need a little bit of a relaxing part after Made to Suffer. It's insane. What We Become, also a good one. This is the Rick bite one, where he bites the three guys that look like triplets, the Marauders, they're called online. I don't know if that's ever confirmed in the comic books, but it's still a pretty good. It's still a pretty good volume. You've got some cool pages like this one here, where you get to see tons of zombies as they kind of run through it. They sort of adopted it in an interesting way in the TV series. They kind of split it and used part of it in season 4, and then they kind of used part of it later on. Morgan comes back, which is good, but he's not as good as the version in the TV series, I want to say. And the highlight of this one will be the fight between Carl, Abraham, and Rick against the three guys that attack them when they're going to try to get some more ammunition and stuff like that. So What We Become, also a great volume and a big change for Rick. It's pretty good. Maybe not one of the best parts. This I do think is one of the best parts. This is Fear the Hunters. This one's great. This one really is. I mean, you've got Andrea there who's scared, and then you've got kind of a hunter behind the tree there. This is the death of Dale, who in the comic book series, Dale was pretty big, and you have Rick in the group, and they slaughter the hunters after what the hunters do. So yeah, it's pretty dark, man. It's one of the darkest parts of the series, and the hold him down line from Rick as he tells them to hold him down when they're getting ready to chop up the the hunters, man. It's brutal. And also, of course, the freaky scene where Dale wakes up and a man's got to eat. And then you have, I believe his name's Chris. Chris in the comic book series, who is the TV series version named Gareth. He's Chris in the comic books, and he's pretty trolly. He smiles at him and everything, and it's pretty dark, man. It's pretty scary. I mean, really. Also, you have Carl doing something super badass in this one, too, where he kills the comic book series version of Lizzie. Is it Ben, I believe? Yeah, he kills Ben. And that, to me, actually is one of the best parts for Carl, because Ben had been cutting up animals and stuff and then kills his brother for no reason. Just like Lizzie with Mika in the TV series. But instead of Carol putting Lizzie down in the comic book series, Carl is the one, not Carol. Carl is the one in the comic book series who at night hears what's going on and puts him down because everybody else is kind of worried about killing a kid. So brutal. So Fear the Hunters. But I do think it's one of the best parts, though. It's really exciting read through, especially the first time with the cannibals and everything, because consider all these came out before the TV series version. So that one for me, even after Made to Suffer, was actually really intense and really scary as well, too. Then we have Life Among Them. This one's okay. It's got, let's see, we have meeting Aaron for the first time, so that's part of it. We've got going to Alexandria and that. And, the stuff with Pete, all that stuff that we saw, late season 5, and actually going into the start of season 6. And it's very close. It's not as different as some of the other parts. it's pretty good. Let's see what we got here. I think that's about it. Group being on the road, so it's not one of the best parts. It's an okay trade. It's not fantastic. Too Far Gone, Volume 13, with Rick on the cover here at the party. This one as well too actually is good. Oh, actually this one is good because you've got the hunt or the wolves or the scavengers from the comic book series. The Scavengers is pretty good. They kind of show up out of nowhere. They're a mini villain, but still pretty good. And you have the stuff with Peter, which is decent as well. I don't think it's one of the best parts, though. I would say in retrospect, it's not to me. It's just okay. 13, Too Far Gone. And now we're starting to get closer to where the television series is actually at. We have No Way Out, Volume 14. So you've got Rick and Michonne on the cover here, and they're looking out to see what's happening. This one, okay, so the comic book series version, it's a lot like the TV series version. You have a lot of zombies that come in. You've got some character deaths in that. Tobin gets killed, and it's pretty exciting. You've got the stuff with Jesse and Rick, them kind of getting together just quickly for a fling, which never really happens in the TV series to the same degree. I don't think they ever sleep together in TV series from what we know, unless it happened off screen. You'd think they would show that to us. They kind of showed us that with Michonne. And let's see, we just got a whole bunch of zombie killing, which is great. So yeah, this one is, and the shot with Carl. So this one is one of the best parts of Alexandria, I want to say. When they adapted this one in the TV series, though, this one for the TV series was adapted to be incredible. But yeah, this one was, I remember when this one came out, people were going nuts, especially at this one. Dad right there, yeah, that's one of the best parts of the series for sure. So out of all the Alexandria stuff, I want to say that No Way Out is for sure the best out of all the Alexandria. This one that we find ourselves, this is okay after No Way Out. It's not fantastic. You get kind of the Nicholas going crazy type deal. It takes up quite a bit in the comic book series version, and it's okay. This is an okay one. I don't think it's one of the best parts, but this part is something they never used in the TV series, which is after Carl gets shot. He asks, "Where's Mom?" because he's got some kind of amnesia, and I thought that was pretty good after No Way Out. To get to hear him say that, like, where's Mom? He's in a state of confusion. I thought it was pretty tragic, and so this is okay. A decent follow up after No Way Out. So now the next section of it. So that's that one. Then we have the introduction of Jesus in that with a larger world. You get to find out about some of the stuff that's going on with the hilltop and that, which is the introduction. Also a decent part, because it sets us up for a new story, and it's pretty good. But it by itself is definitely not one of the best parts. It's pretty exciting though when Jesus first comes in, because we don't know if he's a foe or somebody we can trust. We pretty much assume, as Rick does, he's probably a villain based on his introduction. So that's number 16. And then we have the one I left up there, which of course is Something to Fear 17, which is being adapted right now in the television series version. It is one of the best parts of the series as well, too. I put it right up there with Made to Suffer and All Out War. So it's one of the best. You've got the huge character death, of course, as Glenn in the comic books, and kind of the brutality of the brain. Kind of matter everywhere. It's brutal, man. Also, of course, the introduction of Negan. So that one is one of the best for sure. I think I put it right up there with almost on the same level as Made to Suffer and some of the others that I've mentioned that are really standouts. What comes after? It's okay. So it's what comes after. We're going to see this adapted, the first part of season 7. It looks like. So this one, with Negan coming after issue 100 and Something to Fear, it's pretty decent. We've got some good stuff with getting to know Negan, and it sets us up for a new part of the story. There's some obvious animosity between Rick and Negan. They kind of hate each other. I mean, Negan he doesn't want to kill Rick because he wants to keep Rick in line, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if he likes Rick or not, but he likes to have him there so that he can have someone to command around. And you've got Carl, who goes after Negan, which is funny, and it's a pretty decent part of the story too as well. You've got the iron and stuff. You've got Dwight, and then we start to find out a little bit more about that and what's going on. You've got Jesus showing up, And pretty good fight at the end, actually, between Rick and Negan. So that's pretty exciting. There's a lot of, anytime Negan's involved, there's fighting all throughout. And I mean, every volume of The Walking Dead has some crazy stuff happening. But with Negan especially, there's a lot of back and forth fighting, and it's pretty exciting all the way through. And then we meet Ezekiel at the end of this one, What Comes After. So it's again, a pretty decent one. March to War is actually one of the better ones as well, too. And I'd put it close to Made to Suffer and some of the others because it's got some really exciting fights in it between Rick and Negan, the Saviors. And also you have some stuff between Andrea. She gets into it with in a tower with one of the Saviors as well, too, a male. And she has to fight him off of her and ends up killing him. Also, there's a huge character death, which I won't go over, a Guts death, because those of you who know what it is, you know what it is. Those of you who haven't for the TV series, I don't want to ruin it because it looks like they might adapt it pretty much exactly. So as such, this one is really exciting when Rick goes to try and kill, Negan. It's a great read, and the way they did it was awesome. But actually, it's Rick's gun that gets shot out of his hand. Negan was prepared, and it's just got some really good stuff between Negan and Rick. They're always constantly fighting back and forth, and they certainly have an interesting relationship for sure. This is the part where Andrea has to fight off the guy here. This one is really exciting. I really like the fight there and what happens there and the way it's shown and everything. Lucille gets damaged because Lucille gets hit with a shot. So pretty awesome. And yeah, man, it's really, really exciting. And then in the end, they get rescued because Negan is about to go for broke on him by Ezekiel, and the kingdom comes into the rescue. So even though this is the start, and then there's an awesome speech by Negan about swinging dicks at the end and stuff. So this one, even though it's not war, it's March to War. It's supposed to be set up for war. It's got enough in it that makes it one of the better parts as well, too. And I feel like that one, in combination with All Out War Part 1 and Part 2, probably are the best parts of the series as a whole. A single trade, maybe you got to go with Made to Suffer, but second to Made to Suffer would probably be All Out War Part 2, this one right here. Because in this one you get the final battle between, now this is going to get kind of spoilery, so I'll try to dance around it, Rick and Negan as the kind of joint forces come together. And there's some incredible stuff in this one. You've got back and forth fighting from Sanctuary, Alexandria, you got grenades, you've got, oh, man, so much crazy stuff going on and so many awesome splash pages and everything. Like this one, for example, blam, as Rick shoots off to wake Negan up, and the line from Negan, "You gotta be kidding me, what do you think this is, Rick? Are we trying to play my dick's bigger than your dick? Because it isn't." Pretty awesome. Some of the lines I remember, and just some great action sequences, some great shots of gunfire everywhere, all kinds of craziness. So All Out War is so far anyway, I think maybe I'd say the best part. I mean, it's pretty incredible all the way through. You get some pretty major character deaths. You got Shiva in there. You got Ezekiel. So The Walking Dead, it does, as I read it and I look at it, it does elevate each step. There's escalation. Things are bigger, the battles are bigger, the wars are bigger, versus being it just like at the prison, where the prison feels more like a battle. All Out War, you have more groups, you have more characters, you have more fights going on and more crazy stuff and more zombies and everything. So The Walking Dead does a great job in the comic book series of really feeling like it's getting bigger and feeling like the stakes are higher each step of the way, with different communities and everything, larger world, and going to all kinds of more characters. Some great stuff. I thought it was interesting in this one, All Out War Part 2, where Negan has the idea to use their weapons and gunk up their weapons like Lucille with zombie guts and zombie blood before they go to battle. And some great final battle scenes here at the hilltop and that. Really, really cool, man, for sure. So this one right here, in the end, this is the final battle between Rick and Negan, the face-off and everything. And it's... I'll say this one. I think I'll say it. This one is probably the best part of The Walking Dead overall. As amazing as Made to Suffer is, even though it has some of the craziest deaths ever, I really like reading Negan a lot more than I like reading the Governor. The Governor in the comic book series is just straight evil. He cuts Rick's hand off for pretty much no reason. And yeah, it's just absolutely brutal. So then we get the time skip and we have a new beginning. And this is when I was thinking, okay, what is Kirkman going to do now? Because he's already had all-out war. So how is he going to keep the story interesting after seeing a huge battle? He uses a time skip to do so after some peacetime. And it works. It's, again, escalation. Bigger herds of zombies, more characters, adding in more characters. You got Magna coming in and some different characters that weren't in the series before. And Rick kind of almost seeming a little bit like Douglas at this point. You got Negan. I guess I kind of have to spoil. We got stuff going on with Negan, which is great. And, him being kind of punished for what he did and everything. Rick keeping him alive. I guess there's no way I can dance around that. I got to say it. So it's crucial to what's happening after. And, it is good. You've got Carl, you got Maggie, some reflection time, and them just being happy about what it is. And you have the start to the Whisperers, which I do think the Whisperers, especially with sword fighting, you got Dante in that, and Alpha coming in and everything. Man, it definitely, don't move. It definitely keeps my interest as a reader all the way through. So even that part's great too. Whispers into Screams, I love for Carl. I love this one for Carl because it's Carl, he meets Lydia, and he defends Sophia against the boys that attack him with a brick. So, and then in addition to that, you also get the Whispers. You get some incredible knifing scenes and stuff that's going on here. Like, just awesome stuff, man. Absolutely crazy. So this one, also really, really good. We're almost up to current date, so there's everything that happens in this one, the relationship between Carl and Lydia, and the beginning of Alpha and the Whispers. So also really great one, definitely not weak, that's for sure. The Walking Dead is very strong all the way through. There's very few parts in the whole series that are weak. Life and death. So this one, I don't want to say this one's one of the best parts. It's probably the saddest part because you have so many characters that get killed, all at once from the Whispers, from Alpha, for the border that she sets up. And this one, if you guys watched the channel a year ago, I gasped when I read that. It was nuts. And also you get the confrontation between Rick and Alpha as well, too. So it's pretty crazy as well, too. I don't want to say it's one of the best parts. It's one of the saddest parts and one of the most emotional parts. Because I don't like seeing that many characters be killed off all at once. It's kind of nuts to me. And then finally, because I don't have Volume 26 yet, I got to check the release date on that. Because I've already reviewed the individual trades for that anyway. You can check it out or individual issues for that. But I'll review the trade when I get it. Volume 25. No turning back. So this is the final one I have right now, and 26 is great too as well. The part that it covers and everything. This one as well, really good, and getting to hear about Negan and then the stuff that's going on right now. In the comics is also incredible, I want to say. You have the Rick getting betrayed in this one, which is kind of crazy, which is issue 150. And, it ends with Negan giving Rick some advice, as everybody loves Rick. So this one, not weak, but definitely not one of the best parts. And then the following 26 and the stuff currently, 27 and that, oh man, just amazing stuff. So the best parts to sum it up overall, I'd say Made to Suffer, All at War Part 2, Fear of the Hunters, March to War is also really good, and then Whispers into Screams I really like for Carl's development. And man, that's pretty much it. So to look at everything together, I don't even know if I can lift them all. Holy cow, man, here they are. So that's everything. Lots of amazing stuff all throughout the series, and definitely my favorite comic book series of all time by far. So those are my favorite parts, with All at War Part 2 probably being the best part of the series overall, and Made to Suffer as well. And man, I hope you guys liked it. I hope it wasn't too long for you guys. Write in the comments below what parts you like the best, which parts that maybe you as your personal experience reading it, going through it, maybe you read it after you saw the TV series. What parts for you stood out as the best parts of the entire series? For me, those are them for me, man. Crazy series, and I remember when I first started reading it and everything, just so many shocking moments that just blew my mind. The Rick getting his hand cut off and everything else, Laurie's death, all that, just nuts, man. So Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about that and your favorite parts of the series. And yeah, I hope you guys like this one. I know it's a longer video, but people like the one for the TV series, so I decided, you know what, a few people asked to see one for the comics, and I love the comics, so let's do it too. So there it is for you guys. If you liked it, please, guys, hard video to make. Had to go through everything and, you know, kind of rehash and look over and then put together my thoughts for it comparatively. Don't forget to thumb it up, guys. Please, that's all I'm asking really is thumb the video up. Share favorite if you wouldn't mind. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe to see more Walking Dead videos from me. That's it for a look at the best parts of the Walking Dead comic book series. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to see any other extended videos, if you have any other suggestions, send them to me. That's it for this one, guys. We'll see you again real soon for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya. You can share, you can favorite, you can subscribe. Hell, you're all going to be doing that.